I'm Kate.
I'm Elle.
We're down to Faye, and the Faye Base have spoken. We're keeping the deep dive format. We might even go deeper, balls deep, Mariana Trench deep, which thank God, because honestly, I would have tried to do another format if that's what everyone wanted, but we are incapable of not
We would have
over analyzing.
sat and rambled on something anyway, or like there's just questions that come up and you're like, what do you think they meant by blah blah blah? So like it would have been a deep dive even if you didn't ask
Yeah,
for
even
it.
if we had like bullet points, I would have spent 20 minutes on each bullet point, like over analyzing, like, well, I see there's this person's view, but have you thought about this? So deep dive format is staying.
So again, thank you to everybody who commented on Spotify and sent messages. Also, thank you for liking it because you are going to get this format whether you wanted it or not.
Yeah, and we got new reviews. I felt like a main character all week. I was getting notifications. So I'm going to try to do more like interactive, like ask questions at the end. Like, who do you want as to end up with? Just like stuff for you guys to comment if you're listening on Spotify.
It's so sweet. Just
And
it confirms that people are listening and people care.
yeah, it's like sometimes we're shouting into the capital V void. So it is nice to hear from everyone. And we are going to be doing more standalone episodes too. We're going to keep the format of standalone, like book reviews instead
Mhm.
of doing book reviews at the beginning of the deep dive episodes. Because I want to do episodes for Nocticadia, Trial of the Sun Queen, The Poisoner, On Wings of Blood. Like there's a lot I want to do. And I was talking to Steffi on Instagram about many Harry Potter episodes
Woo!
because you're, re-listening. And wouldn't it be fun if we did little mini episodes where we talked about lore,
Yes.
like the Resurrection Stone, still in the Forbidden Forest? That seems concerning.
Yep.
And before indoor plumbing, they apparently just went to the bathroom wherever they were standing and then just used their magic to make it go away.
Gross.
And
How does
then
that feel clean?
Merlin exists in that world. Like, didn't he go to Hogwarts?
We didn't get a whole lot of great information. They just like mentioned
Well,
Merlin.
there's just so many little things that I'm like, I could do a whole episode about that.
Also, who's monitoring these children in the halls? Like they're like, "Ooh, curfew! You can't be out after like
Right?
a certain amount of time." And then people are like, "We're sneaking off to a classroom to quote make out," and you're like, "Okay."
And then Dumbledore kind of being a villain. Like, there's just a lot of angles.
Follow up questions
Well,
and
and then mini
discussions.
lore episodes, not just about Harry Potter, but like the Massverse. I know we're going to get into ACOTAR, but there are so many things that I want to talk about, but I don't want to spend 30 minutes going on a tangent about like why I think Moore is a witch or what we think could be happening with the yielding or like things that connect the world. So I think it would be fun to do little episodes like we talked about doing for A Song of Ice and Fire. I just haven't, because I still want to do that. Like I want to do one that I have so many theories about who's going to kill Cersei.
Ooh, I mean,
Because
there's just so many things to look forward to. So many things upcoming.
yeah, and then I unfortunately did not get a lot of reading done this week, and I thought I would because we were both in Georgia. You went to Atlanta and I went to Savannah.
Savannah.
And I was like, I'm going to read so much. Not that it's a long flight, but I was like, I'll get to listen to Caught Up. But this fucking guy who was sitting beside me would not stop. I had my AirPods in and everything. And he would
Yikes.
not stop talking to me. And it was like getting to a spicy part. And I was like, I just feel like it was very spicy. It was something
Gosh.
happened in a confessional booth at
Hey.
church. It was
Okay.
it was very hot, but I was like, I can't do it while this guy is telling me about being engineer of the year. He was like, we're going to Hilton Head because I'm engineer of the year, and I'm listening to someone getting fucked in a confessional booth. I was like, wait, I gotta separate these two things.
Also, like, guy, read the room.
Read the
I don't know
room.
you. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, so not a lot of reading done, but I am almost done with Caught Up. I think I'm like 90%.
I need to hear more about the
You know
confessional.
what? It was actually hotter than the sex. Like
Okay.
it's spicy all the way through, but they don't have sex until the end. That one he's just like barely pushed inside of
I
her, but they
like the
can't
dirty
make any
teasing.
sounds. Yeah, it was really good.
That's sexy.
And then we got some SJM news this week. She signed a new multi-year deal with IMG licensing. And that basically means we're going to be getting more official merch. Like there's so much ACOTAR merch and products, but there's not a lot of official. There was like a line at Hot Topic,
Okay.
if you remember that. But I think we're going to be getting like apparel, beauty, games, experiences.
Oh
That's
my
the one that I'm
God.
most excited about, which now it makes sense. A couple of months ago, they had all these events around the country or around the world that were using her characters and her worlds and books, like Starfall Ball.
Hmm.
it it makes sense now, you're not gonna wanna compete against events using the same branding, but also, she didn't have any creative input, so when some of these events did not go well, and it's branded as Starfall Ball, I understand.
Yeah. Well, also just like, this is my creation, like, you're
Yeah.
running with it, and I would want to have input. I've created it. I should be doing more to influence what's happening with it.
I do wonder how it's going to affect small businesses and creators, like, on Etsy. Although, if we're being honest, some of these people are just buying, like, shitty cotton t-shirts and putting "Rattle the Stars" on there and or Bat Boys, and then calling themselves a small business. I mean, there are some really talented small businesses, and there are really talented artists, and I hope that they don't lose their licensing because of this.
Well, if there's, like, official apparel and merch, at some point, there has to be a way for these small businesses to also work with SJM and whatever they're planning. So, like, hopefully, they don't lose their business, but I can understand why she wants to have more say over it. It's her creation.
Well, and I'm a consumer at heart, so just because there's official and unofficial merch, I'll buy both.
If it's available,
Like
it's
an
cute.
eyeshadow palette? Imagine
Oh
like a
my
Night
god.
Court eyeshadow palette from, like, Urban Decay.
Do you know how much, like, fucking glitter I would buy? Like, I buy all of the glitter eyeshadows. Just if it's cute, I never use it. I just want the palette.
Or like an immersive event, like
Yes.
walking through the courts or something, that would be I mean, chances are we're gonna get shitty cups at Target that say Starfall, but wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, like, did you ever go to the Van Gogh event? Like, there was some, like
No, you went with someone else
no,
without
I've
me.
never been. I didn't get a chance to go.
Oh, Kelly I think Kelly went.
Yeah, okay, thank you for throwing shade, it wasn't me. But
I knew someone went
you're
without
like,
me.
"Yeah, you didn't invite me." Excuse me, it wasn't me.
The only reason I'm not mad about Atlanta is because I was going to Savannah.
I love the way you just keep Savannah. I was going to
Savannah. I
Savannah.
don't know why I say it like I had a great time in Savannah, by the way, it was so cute, except for the gnats.
Yeah, it's that time of year, it's just hot.
We went on the best ghost tour. Like, it is a very haunted city.
I mean, a lot of areas in the South, you can find a ghost tour that's pretty good, but, like, Savannah and Charleston have some really
Mhm.
fun ones.
Well, they like, he showed us our tour guide. If you ever go to Savannah and want a tour guide recommendation, we went on a really good one. But they showed us, like, the scans, and there are, like, 6 layers of bodies
Yeah. For
underneath
anybody that doesn't know,
Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia is a necropolis.
Mhm.
Like, the city's literally built on top of the dead just because there were so many battles and plagues and things that were fought and happened in the area, like
Yeah, because Florida was held by Spain, and then up north was held by the British, and so Georgia was created basically as a buffer, and that's why so many battles took place there. Like, they showed us these homes that were built on top of where trenches were dug
mhm.
because they didn't have the manpower to take these bodies back and bury them where they're supposed to be. We're gonna talk about that in this episode, actually, like, the what is it? The, superstition around, like, what happens when you don't bury a body the
Oh,
right way.
yeah.
So they think that that's why part of the reason why it's so haunted because they just had to throw everyone in trenches.
Well, and, like, like, not to get on a full, like, Savannah tangent, because separately, I've been to Savannah, I've been on some of the ghost tours too. It's two, it's so interesting because eventually when they're wanting to pave roads and build, like, if there's bodies everywhere, you don't wanna disturb them, but
Mhm.
at some point, people have to be moved so that things can be built, but, like, they don't even half those, like, they don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Because, again, the plagues and battles and, like, it's not like you can walk around and just, "Oh, this is so and so, they've been laid to rest here," so the whole thing's kinda crazy,
Well,
really.
and then we went to the house, what is the movie? The
The Midnight
Midnight
and
in the Garden of
Garden, yeah, of
Yes!
Good and Evil.
It was like, we went to that house where it happened, and that story is just so interesting, and then we saw another house where a guy was I don't the tour guide said having an affair with a slave. That's not possible, you can't like, that there's not consent in that situation,
Mhm.
but with he was with the slave, and they said the wife, like, threw herself out of a window, which no, he definitely killed her, but now her spirit is, like, wandering.
Yikes.
I fucking love stories like that.
I know, there's a lot of history with interesting stories with it.
Yeah, I don't know why I started talking about Savannah.
Wait, yeah, how did we get here? We were both in Georgia, and is that why we didn't get a lot of reading
Oh,
done?
because we didn't get a lot of yeah, and then well, also with the IMG deal, the filming rights for ACOTAR have reverted back to Sarah, which is really exciting because Hulu never felt like the right fit.
Right.
And now she can shop it around, like, hopefully find a studio to give it the budget it deserves, like, maybe HBO
I mean, if we
or
can't
animated if we can't get
or even
HBO.
Prime, 'cause, Prime was the one that has the Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
I've already forgot what the series is called, but they've put a
Rings
lot
of
of
Power.
Rings of Power. They put a lot of money into that.
Well, and I actually started when we were in Savannah, we started watching a new show on Prime called We Were Liars, and it's based on a book I had not read, but we blew through that show, and the ending is fucking crazy. Like, it is
Okay.
not what you would expect just from if you go into it thinking it's gonna be like The Summer I Turned Pretty or something like that, it is not. It's crazy.
Okay.
It
I
was
mean, it's on
very
my
good.
TBR to or my what is your to watch list called?
TBW, to be
My TBW.
yes.
It's on my TBW.
So she has the ACOTAR rights and Sarah's getting her bag. I saw a lot of negative comments online and I love these books and characters and yes, I too am feral for the next ACOTAR book, but the comments that are demanding the next book, like one said, "Sarah's getting rich on at our expense." No one's forcing you to buy this shit. What are you talking
But
about?
also she created it. She should get
Why
rich. It's not
shouldn't
your
she be
expense. She
making
created
money?
it.
Well, and they're also acting like Sarah herself is gonna sit down and start sewing
She's very busy. She has a lot
wingspan
of
onto
t-shirts to
pillows,
make.
like, she's not making this shit, it's not taking away from her time writing the book, like, I'm kind of Kale later when he's yelling at Irene, but he's really yelling at himself. I have to remind myself not to be entitled when it comes to authors' time because like, I want a book or an announcement so badly, but yeah, we just have to
Well,
it's
and
on her time, and
that's the thing too, though, like, they're under contract to, like, release a certain number of books, but if you're super creative, you can't just, like, put this all out there on demand. You know,
right.
she's probably got a lot of things she's worked out, but I don't want you to rush it and we don't get the story that we deserve,
Yeah, do
you
we
know?
want an ACOTAR book fast, or do we want the best book?
Yeah, we want this world to keep growing.
I
We
mean,
wanna
don't
hear
go
more.
crazy, don't go like George R. R. Martin about it and be 20 years late, but I mean, she just had a book come out last year,
Yeah.
and it people were shitty about House of Flame and Shadow. I'm bitter, so I would be like, "Y'all are gonna be waiting for ACOTAR."
Yeah, we kinda did that to ourselves, and if people are gonna be rude, she's gonna take a minute.
We played ourselves.
Oh. Well, we're gonna continue our Throne of Glass deep dive today with Empire of Storms chapters 50 through 52 and Tower of Dawn chapters 36 through 40.
And we're going to do a quick refresh on where we are in Tower of Dawn since it's been a couple of weeks, and I am going to do an updated graphic with chapters
Oh, yeah, we realized
on Instagram this
the
week.
tandem read doesn't
Yeah.
tell you where we are now, so we'll get that up
I got
there.
too comfortable in sticking with Empire of Storms, but I was like, oh shit.
We're picking up in Empire of Storms chapter 50 after the Vernon jump scare. Elite tells her uncle and the two Ilkin that he brought that they can't take her from her husband.
And Vernon's like, Lorcan Salvatere really a lead? And we read into that differently. You're right, but the first time I read it, I was like, oh, he's saying like you're gonna be with Lorcan. But the way you read it was Lorcan's gonna be with you.
Yeah, you read it, I guess, as like him thinking Lorcan's like dirty and undeserved or like something bad about
Of
Lorcan.
like, "Ooh,
And I'm like, Lorcan is second in command to Maeve. Like, he is powerful, hundreds of years old. Like, I thought that Vernon was like looking down at a lead. Like, why would he choose you? Don't
no,
be
that makes more
ridiculous.
sense because Vernon is always trying to bring Ellie down and make her feel like she doesn't have any options."
Yeah, I mean, like, it really could be either way, but
He is
also
her biggest op.
it's just funny that he's like, yeah, I'm sure he married you.
Mhm.
Okay, a
Okay,
lead.
sweetie.
But in theory, being air quote married means that Vernon no longer can be a lead's warden.
You know what? I have spent some you know where I was and who I was with this weekend.
Yes.
I think Lorcan is more sensitive and more attentive than some of the husbands I know IRL.
Yes.
Like, I bet if Lorcan had to watch his own kids, he wouldn't call it babysitting.
God.
I fucking hate that. When you have friends that are like you ask them if they have plans or if they wanna do something, and they're like, "Well, let me see if my husband can babysit." It's his kid.
Yeah.
That's not babysitting.
It's one thing if you're making sure that he doesn't have something for work where he has to stay late and his schedule doesn't keep him from being
Fuck
available,
his
but
schedule.
he's oh, okay. Gotta I
Well,
mean, gotta
it's like it falls on the woman 95% of the time. She should be able to be like, unless it's life or death, like, you're watching your kid. Like, it's time for your kid to meet you.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying that at all. I just mean that I understand if you guys are making sure that somebody will be available so that somebody's not already committed to something, but that's not the same thing as being like, "You need to watch your child," and he's like, "I just can't. I have games to play." Like, no,
I have
that's not how
hard
that
opinions
works.
for someone with an empty womb.
I think it's almost easier because we can sit
It
back and
is.
see other people's struggles and form big opinions.
But like you were saying, he's more just convincing Elide, like, you don't have options. Lorcan has left you. Even though up until this point, Lorcan hasn't really given any reasons to doubt him. But Elide, she, in her mind, really in reality, Elide has been forgotten and left by everyone. Like, she has some serious abandonment issues. So, of course, she's like, well, I guess he did leave me because why wouldn't he? Why would he need me?
I mean, also, Elite saw Lorcan throw a fit and throw something out of the
He did
window,
throw a little fit.
like, when he realized that Aelin had lied about giving him the word key, but he didn't explain that to Elide. So as far as
Mhm.
Elide knows, like, I need him more than he needs me because I can't get to Eoway by myself.
Yeah.
So she could see, like, him being like, "You're dead weight." She's probably just hard on herself. Vernon also tells her that Manon is dead. She was gutted by her grandmother and thrown to her death for disobedience.
And at the thought of not only being in Morath, but being in Morath without Manon and her protection, and she told Lorcan that this is what she would do if she were ever faced with that possibility again. But she's tempted to use the word key. It's a lot like how the ring, like, it tempts you to use it, but it corrupts you. Like, even if you go into it with good intentions, the word key would corrupt it. It's a lot like, remember that scene with Kate Blanchett where she gets like super dark? It's like she calls it her test.
Yeah, you're talking about in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, and she's
She's like a
like,
dark
I would be
queen.
a dark queen. And then she's like, I passed it. And that made me go on another tangent. So a long time ago, Kate Blanchett was on Watch What Happens Live on Bravo. And she said that she made almost nothing doing Lord of the Rings.
That is
And you're
insane
like,
with how
"Okay,
much
she
money
wasn't
was
in
in that
it
movie.
that much." But then Orlando Bloom was on the Howard Stern show, and he said he made $175,000 total for the 3 movies. Orlando Bloom.
That's
That's all that he
insane.
made. And he was like, "Oh, I'd do it again for free." But then I was like, "Well,
Uh,
what did everyone else get paid?" Because this is like how my mind works. And Sean Astin got paid 250,000. So 75,000 a movie, no residuals.
no residuals is
Insane.
insane.
And
What?
nobody knows for sure about Elijah, but they're saying max anyone got paid would have been 1,000,000, which is like, holy shit, $1,000,000. But compared to what they're paid for other movies and how much those movies brought in, I mean, I know those movies had a big budget.
Well,
I just thought that was
this
crazy.
isn't like the first Twilight where, like, a lot of these are unknown actors. Like, these are usually like, a lot of them are very well-established actors. This is a huge movie. I cannot the
It's
amount of money it
crazy,
made
right?
is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
So sorry,
wow.
that was a tangent, but I was like, once I start thinking about what one person made, I'm like, what did everybody make?
I have so many
But
more
Kate Blanchett
questions.
basically said she was paid in sandwiches,
Okay.
which is kind of a, like, not privileged thing to say. Like, 175,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people, but for that role.
But also to know that, like, 20 plus years later, it's still on TV regularly,
Yes.
it's still going strong, and you're getting no residuals from that, like, how much money it made, that's pretty
You know who
crazy.
also didn't get residuals is Vampire Diaries and Twilight, because when we were at that convention, they were, I think that's why they have to do the conventions, why they have, like, how they're making
Because 'Cause they're
money.
not making money, yeah.
Yeah, because the Stefan actor, what is Paul Wesley, said that they're not making any money from, like, from being on Netflix and Prime.
I wonder if that was a thing, like, when they first did it with the CW, like, the way their contracts were put
I mean,
together,
it
like,
was
you
a
couldn't
thing when
request it.
Seinfeld started.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think they just didn't make, sometimes I guess in the beginning, if you've never had a big role, you're just so happy.
Well, because like, I guess if you don't know that the show's gonna get picked up, you look like an idiot being like,
Yeah.
"Okay, and then I also want this in my
Or they
contract,"
might
and they're
just
like, "Calm
drop
down."
you, like, if and find someone easier that they can take advantage of.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I don't know.
sorry, tangent. But Elide is warned not to use the word key by a voice, and I'm assuming this is Anise, but it warns her not even to acknowledge it. I
Which
would
is
be like that would, I wouldn't be able to not think about it
I
if I'm
mean,
told not to think about
poor
it.
Elide, like, how, um
'Cause she doesn't know it's the word key still.
right, but
She's about to find out.
how bleak do your options have to be that you're like, "I've gotta take myself out, I can't," like, that's
Yes.
so sad that it's so horrific, this is
Mhm.
your only way out. The Ilkens start pushing a lead toward an iron box, which sounds horrific. It's barely bigger than a coffin with a small window and handles on two of its edges so they can fly her to Morath. Like, I am already claustrophobic. What if you drop
Mhm.
me? What if you drop me into water and I drown? Like, oh my God, that's crazy.
What was that Leonardo DiCaprio movie?
Man on the Iron Mask?
Yes.
I think. Just had that one on standby.
But Elite is shoved forward, but at the last second, she twists, slamming her nose into the edge. And
Ugh.
like Lorcan can hear a crunch. She lunges for Vernon's knife, but she doesn't point it at him. She turns it on herself. And seeing this, Lorcan knows true fear for the first time in 5 centuries.
Just as the tip of the dagger pierces her leathers, Lorcan's hatchet slams into her wrist and stops her.
Then he jumps from rooftop to rooftop, where he spent the time Vernon claimed he was packing and leaving. He was actually leaving a trail of weapons that he's now throwing at the Ilkin.
Elide runs for an alley that's too small for the Ilkin to fit, but she doesn't keep running. Not this time. She goes for Lorcan's hatchet, and with an injured wrist and broken, like, the breaking of my nose would send me. I would immediately be like, "Oh my god,
She
my
already
nose!"
has the ankle. So that
She
is ankle, wrist, broken nose. I would be so worried, honestly, not even about the pain, but I would be like cosmetically,
yeah.
like aesthetically, this would ruin me.
I mean, a lead, like, she's got clearly got a high pain tolerance, but she is, like, in this deep. She's like, "I don't fucking care. I'm taking you out. You're not doing this to me." She is, like, very injured and going after them, and she creeps up behind the Ilkin and drives this hatchet into its wings.
And we know how sensitive wings are.
Ooh.
The Ilkin falls to its knees and Elide beheads it. So it must be a very because when I hear hatchet, I'm picturing like not big enough to
No,
behead
hatchet
something
is not
with.
an axe. I'm like, "Ooh, how many
Like that would
strikes?"
have been a couple swings,
Yo.
but she looks at Vernon like you're next, bitch. But the last Ilkin picks Vernon up and flies away, and Elide barely misses when she throws the hatchet.
Nice. I wouldn't say I'm great at throwing. Good job, Elide. It falls near the Ilkin with the shredded wings, currently trying to crawl away. Elide picks up the hatchet and stomps on that fucked wing.
She has a little message of her own for Erewhon, but oh, it only takes one to deliver a message, and your buddy's already bailed. She brings the axe down, but when Lorcan starts to go for the townspeople who betrayed them, she tells him enough death, and he listens. He scoops her up and carries her to the boat. And I remember this scene with Elide and the Ilkin because it comes back up in Kingdom of Ash as a pretty important moment for one of the characters when they've realized something.
Oh, okay. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So, okay.
But this whole sequence is important to their character arcs. Like, Elite has spent her entire life so full of fear, and then she meets this guy, Lorcan, everyone else is afraid of, and that's who takes away her fear. Like, gives because sometimes you just have to have the space to be able to be strong,
Mhm.
like to feel safe enough to be strong. And in the absence of the fear, she's growing stronger and she's growing more confident. And then Elide teaches Lorcan to fear, to care enough about someone that you fear losing them. And that's why this relationship just makes so much sense to me. Like there's all this individual growth for Elite and Lorcan. Like they're growing up into their best not growing up.
They're
He's
growing up.
500 years old, but like they're becoming better versions of themselves by being around each other. Like he's becoming more vulnerable and she's becoming more confident.
In some ways, Lorcan is kinda living for the first time. Like, his emotional
Right.
development was so stunted with Maeve and her treatment.
Well, when we first met him, Lorcan was cringing at even casual touch. Like, remember Elide when they first got with the troop, she put her hand on his leg because of the fake marriage, and
Mhm.
he was cringing away, and now he's carrying her. He
He's
carries her
just
onto the boat, and he sets her down. Like, he doesn't wanna set her down. He, like, sets her down in his lap while he's untying the boat and everything. Like, he doesn't wanna stop touching her because instead of cringing, her touch is now comforting to him.
he was just an island unto himself
Mhm.
for so long because even when we've talked about this before, but when he thinks back on the memories of bonding with Rowan, they're memories of, like, partying, killing, and fucking, which is fun, but that's not, like, any kind of emotional development,
Mhm.
depth, like, he was missing that bit, and she's
Yeah.
really bringing that out for him,
I
but
just
also
love them.
I love for her she's spending time with a stranger with no preconceived notions of her. So although he's terrifying, because he doesn't know anything about her and has no expectations, it gives her the opportunity to, like, dig deep and see
Mhm.
how she really feels about something.
Well, in the same she doesn't know all the Lorcan lore,
Yeah.
so it kind of gave them both a fresh start.
Well, because like, if you knew him and you knew he's, like, generally an asshole to people, you're not gonna wanna be vulnerable around
Mhm.
him. Like, she didn't have a wall up in that way. Lorcan wipes a tear away when a lead breaks down telling him who Manon is and what she meant to
And
her.
he's like, "I don't know how to comfort people."
But he's
But he's
listening, which is a great
trying.
start. Lorcan asks about another name that he heard Vernon say, Caltaine. She tells him about Caltaine's last wish to give what Lorcan recognizes as the word key to Selena to thank her for a warm cloak in a cold dungeon.
They wouldn't let Caltaine take the cloak with her to Morath, but she managed to save a scrap that now holds the word key, which is so sad. All Aelin did was give her a cloak, and that's very nice, but it's such a small gesture. But Caltaine was so starved for any kindness that she latched on to such a small moment. Like she kept this scrap with her. It probably grounded her the way that like it kept her from completely losing herself to the word key. Like the note that Irene keeps from Aelin kind of grounds her, and those were small, insignificant moments overall for Aelin. The note to Irene and then the cloak to Caltaine. But to these people, it becomes a symbol. Like and it I think it speaks to basic kindness, like no matter how small, can make such a big difference.
I mean, it was a small thing for Aelin to give the cloak to Caltaine, but at the same time, Caltaine just tried to kill her. So it's actually
Let's not forget she was a raging bitch. She was being manipulated, and I too would be a social climber in this
yeah.
situation,
But I
but she
mean,
was a bitch.
all of that, so, like, for Aelin to still show kindness and empathy to somebody, like, regardless of understanding the background, like, she has a reason to be cruel to Caltaine, let alone potentially wanting Caltaine dead. Instead, it is a small thing for Aelin because she has a million cloaks upstairs, but at the same time, she still took a moment to, like, register the distinction and make an effort for Caltaine because she had asked Dorian to do something for she
Mhm.
spoke up for her, and
This is why later on, I'm
with
gonna have
right,
to
with Chaol, it
yes,
just
I'm gonna have to not go off because all these like, even when she was
he discounts.
Aderlin's assassin, she helped Irene get to where she was going.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she helped and she
She
saved
sa
the Mute Master.
she saved Ansel.
She helped Rolf, like, not helped Rolf, but she stopped him from selling slaves and let all those slaves go, like, that's the monster. I like, that I can't even get
I
into
mean,
that right now
she's
because my
not
stomach hurts
perfect,
thinking about it, but
and we'll
it
discuss
makes me
it.
so mad.
Well, she's not perfect, and we'll discuss it when it comes up, but just the way that he discounts everything she's done for one thing that he perceives as
Yeah.
bad, and he goes back and forth, and you're like, "Hello."
Hello.
Anyway, Lorcan has known for a very long time that Elide probably had the word key, and he could so easily grab it and throw Elide in the river.
And again, like the ring, seeing the key, it's kind of Lorcan's test. But instead of taking it, he tells her to put it away. And as he cleans her face and tends to her nose and wrist, Lorcan tells Elite, I'd be like, can we get a plastic surgeon? But he tells her about the word keys and the word gates, that Aelin has one, will have two word keys once Elide delivers the one Caltaine gave her.
Lorcan still has a little moment thinking about taking the word keys from Aelin once she has
That's why
2,
I think it's the
but
test.
I still have a moment that I'm like, "Lorcan, what the fuck do you think you're gonna do?" He
I don't
hasn't got a
know.
plan for
I
destroying or
think he's
doing something with them, but he still thinks he's the best person to take them.
right.
Wild. Elite hopes that Vernon was lying about Manon just to break her spirit, like he lied about Lorcan bailing.
Lorcan promises Elide, who has been forgotten and abandoned her entire life, that he will always find her. And most people would be terrified hearing Lorcan say, I will always find you. But he knows this is what she needs to hear, and she says the same to him. I will always find you too, Lorcan. And no one has ever purposely sought out Lorcan unless they've been ordered to kill him. Like, Lorcan has been unwanted his entire life, first by his parents, then Demi Faye were treated horribly in Dornell, then Maeve didn't want him. And even the cadre hate him. Like now someone is choosing him and they're choosing each other. And I love it.
That was such a big statement that he
It
told her, like,
is.
"I will always find you." It's one thing, like,
When I
"I'll
say
take
it, I
care
mean it
of
as a
you."
threat.
Like, I that was a very big pledge
Mhm.
outside of his blood oath that I think Elide grasps it, but I'm also like, "Let's think about what he just pledged to. That's
You're
crazy."
like, "Wait, hold on."
Wow. Elide wakes to clean strips of linen cut from Lorcan's shirt next to the bed.
He made her pads, y'all. I love Lorcan in a way that is concerning to feminism, but also how funny is it thinking about Lorcan walking around in a crop top because he just keeps having to cut strips of his shirt.
You know what? I'm a sucker for a nice set of abs, though.
A
Like, I'd
man
be
in a
like,
crop top.
I don't even care. I'd be like, "I'm so distracted right now. You should just." Yeah.
I love thighs.
Okay.
I love thick men's thighs, like in shorts. Well, but like I don't know, there's this one specific TikToker. I wish I could remember his name, but he has the best thighs and he has like tattoos on his thighs. Oh my
Ooh.
god.
Okay.
Just a little something to take the edge off.
Just a little distracted. Okay. Well, as Elite and Lorcan are making their way to Eelway, Aelin and Co. are sailing along its coast putting out fires.
And they're having to put them out from the ship. Aelin and Rowan are literally putting out the flames as they sail past village after village on fire. So by the third day doing this, they're exhausted.
I'm interested. I want to hear more detail about Aelin putting out fire. I'm
You know, I
assuming
thought about that too because Rowan makes sense using the wind, I guess, to like,
suffocate it, like
yes,
stop it. But like, is Aelin literally
able
telling it
to
to go away? Like, how is she?
stop.
Yeah, because it's not like she's
I don't
calling it
know.
back to her, but I'm
Why is it Dorian helping?
yeah, Dorian, put some water out there, do something. Rowan has gone to the shore 3 times to ask who set the fires, and the answer was the same each time. Darkness swept over them in the night, the kind that blotted out stars, then the villages were hit with flaming arrows.
Keep in mind that blotting out the stars part because that kind of darkness is very Reese coded. And Reese has those Daemati gifts, and I fully believe that Reese is descended from a character in this series, and I can't wait until we can talk about it when we learn more about a certain character. There's just too many
Also,
red
I
flags.
know that people, especially like, love the mob mentality, but they literally said flaming arrows set the fire. You don't think if it was actually Aelin, she could just send
That's a good
fire,
point.
but they're like, "Oh, it's definitely Aelin." You're like, "Anybody can have flaming arrows." Aelin
Mhm.
could like, that's not what she would need. So, I know they haven't thought that far into it, but each time they say it, I'm like, "Guys, does that make sense?" Of
This is
course, it's not
another thing that's
Aelin.
gonna piss me off about Kale later.
Mhm, mhm. Some villagers claim that ghosts of their unburied dead left in distant
And I'm
lands.
assuming they're talking about in the slave labor camps, the people who would have been left in Caliculla and
Yeah,
in
because you know
Dovier.
that those dead were not treated appropriately. They assume that those dead are behind this.
And another side tangent, so this was a side tangent a while ago, but this made me think of it again because I talked about Operation Wandering Soul, and it was I at the time, I was like, "Something in this series made me think of this, and this is it."
Ah,
So, the Vietnamese believe that the dead must be buried in their homeland or their soul will wander aimlessly, like, in pain and suffering.
wow.
Same if the person is improperly buried. So during the Vietnam War, the US created Operation Wandering Soul basically to fuck with the Viet Cong. They recorded these eerie sounds and voices. Like there's one of a little girl, I listened to it. There's one of a little girl saying, "Come home, daddy." And then voices of men telling the soldiers to go home and be reunited with your loved ones so you can avoid the same fate as we did.
Wow,
And they
that's
played these
tough.
tapes over loudspeakers from helicopters.
Golly, they really like, that's so
That is
it's
diabolical.
eerie,
Mhm.
but they really played on
And you
those
can listen to it
fears.
online.
I'm okay. I think that would be too much for me, really. The villagers thought ghosts were behind the attack until a new rumor started. Aelin Galathinius herself was burning Eelway in retaliation for not aiding Terrason 10 years ago. And that's why I'm like, that just doesn't make sense,
Well,
guys.
why didn't Eelway help 10 years ago? You know when Nehemia was calling Aelin a coward over and over again?
Hmm.
Why did it never come up as, "I don't remember you guys helping 10 years ago." Were they just not able? Was it not like
I
a
need more
possibility?
information about how things happened on the timeline 10 years ago because,
I do
like, they're
too.
mad at Winland for not stepping in.
Mhm.
But I'm like, it seems like this all kind of happened quickly.
Well, Wendland made sense because I think Maeve was
Like Terrazin was the strongest country. They came in and knocked everybody out overnight.
mhm,
So number 1, if it's the strongest country, what the fuck am I gonna do?
yeah.
I can't send my people to die just be I don't know. I just need to know more
I'm just
information.
such a bitter person. I would probably be
Uh-huh.
holding like Aelin doesn't seem to hold it against anyone except for Wendlin, but
Yeah.
everyone else seems to. I mean, I guess we just don't know the logistics of how it all
Maybe
happened.
because Winland not only was very powerful, but would have a lot of magic wielders that they're
Yeah.
like, "You couldn't come help us?" I don't know. The person putting out the fires is being accused of starting the fires, like our girl needed any more bad PR.
But at least she's not pregnant.
Yay, I
Yay.
guess. Like Rowan thought that she might be after Aelin ran to the bathroom to be sick after hearing Fenris say, "Nameless is my price."
They've only discussed the pregnancy topic once, last week when, after fucking, he asked if she was taking a tonic and she told him no. Because she thinks, Aelin assumes that she has inherited the phase. It's hard for them to conceive. But even if the timing is horrible, and it is fucking horrible, if she got pregnant, that could be the only shot of providing Terrasen a bloodline in future. And this is not the only time that she will just kind of like not ask someone's thoughts on having kids
Yeah, I really honestly
because Rowan probably has a lot of trauma tied to that with what happened to Lyria.
it's not like I don't think Rowan wouldn't want children, but I feel like you should ask him if he's ready to
Right.
deal with that yet. I know that Terrason would need an heir. It just there's a moment of like, you guys probably still could have discussed even, it would be very tough for Rowan to even discuss it,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's kind of
I
weird that they
wonder if
didn't.
their kid would be a shifter or not a shifter, would have like, would it be able to shift into an animal form?
Probably because I don't
Because
know
her animal form is her human
but
form.
I don't know what percent Fae Aelin is.
Yeah.
Like obviously Rowan's full blooded, but so
Mhm.
like the majority of the genetics would be Fae. So I feel like it would be shifting
Oh, a
at
little
some
baby
point.
bird.
What if it wasn't a bird? What would you be? Probably would be a bird though. As the sun sets on the third day.
There are so many threes in the Massverse. I mean, there are a lot of sevens, like 7 courts, what used to be 7 courts, 7 Asteries, 7 layers of hell, 7 levels of the library, but there's a lot of threes too. There's 3 word keys, the three-faced goddess, 3 Archeron sisters, 3 bad boys, 3 legs of the cauldron, and then 3 stars in the night court insignia.
There are, wow. There's 3 worlds that we visited, Aurelia, Midgard, and Prithian. Thea split her power into 3.
You know, it'll be very interesting to see how that affects Prithian in the next book because now Bryce has all 3 parts of the Starborn power, and that leaves none in Prithian, where it originated.
Mhm.
So, like, unless someone there is descended from Finn, I like we talked about maybe the Archeron sisters being Starborn or maybe just Nesta, because I have some theories about her having a different father. But this is why I can't wait to get into ACOTAR or doing mini episodes,
Yeah.
because there's just so much. But back to the 3 thing, it's an important number in all religions, but SJM incorporates a lot of nods to Judaism in her books. And in Judaism, the numbers 3 and 7 are important. 3 represents stability, harmony, and completeness. Like if 1 and 2 are adversaries, the third is what balances.
Okay.
And then who was it that denied Jesus 3 times? I think it was Peter, but it's just like a very important number in religion.
The ship finally reaches the stone marshes of Eelway and its crumbling ruins, and as she learns, Manon will be joining the group on their trip inland.
But no wyverns allowed, and Abraxos is very upset. Before she leaves, Manon thanks him for saving her life and promises it's you and me from now until the darkness claims us. And as if that's not depressing enough, watching the group move as a unit, Manon is reminded of the 13 and what the Bloodhound said about Astrid being dead.
I mean, can Abraxas not just hang out on the ship if he just promises not to fly around and draw attention
Yeah,
to
I
them?
don't know. She made him leave.
Yeah, I guess because he wouldn't be able to not get up and like stretch his wings and then there's not enough landforms around them to like hide him. I don't know. Manon takes off her red cape, the one that she took from the Kraken witch she was ordered to kill in the Farian Gap, the witch who turned out to be her paternal half sister. She uses her iron nails to cut a strip off and ties it around the end of her braid, then throws the cloak into the sea.
It's a pivotal moment for her. She has these 2 identities, like Kraken nature and Iron Teeth nurture, and she's combining who she was and who she's becoming. Because she's not wholly Iron Teeth or Kraken, and that's what the witches need. That's what the prophecy says. They need that balance. I just think Manon, like we've talked about character arcs, Manon is another one that has such a great arc because when we meet her, she is this obedient killing machine. I mean, she has these deeper thoughts, but she's been doing what she's been told for 100 years.
It's been, like, beat into her for so long.
And now she has this journey of figuring out like who the fuck she really is. It's a lot, I say this all the time, but it's a lot like Kale, just like losing this foundation of beliefs. But also both of them are learning a different definition of strength. Like Kale is learning there's more than physical strength. Manon is learning there's strength in compassion and caring for others, like the 13 and a lead. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger caring for others. And it's why Dorian and her work so well because she's learning to feel emotions, and Dorian's almost having to relearn that because he shut down after Sorsha died and then he was possessed. So he's kind of relearning alongside her.
Yeah, Dorian's having to realign his original belief system too, because
Mhm.
everything has been changed for him after these experiences. Manon finds the only two people capable of truly understanding what she's feeling, Aelin and Dorian, waiting for her. You never stop seeing their faces, Aelin tells her. It's not until they're rowing for the shore that Manon realizes she didn't mean the 13.
Contrary to what Kaol thinks, Aelin clearly thinks about the people that she's had to kill. And I think that's my biggest problem with Kaol is he just always assumes the worst, but only for her. That because Aelin wasn't crying when she had to do some of these things, that she had that like cold mask on, that she's not affected by death, that she's cold blooded. And I don't think that's the reason, but I feel like that's part of the reason he's so enamored with Irene, because where he sees death and destruction in Aelin, he sees light and healing in Irene. It's like an opposite,
It also
but
doesn't
actually isn't.
Right. It doesn't make that much sense for Kale either, though, because it depends on his mood.
It
If it
does.
doesn't negatively affect him, then he like sees the good in Aelin.
Yeah.
But the minute that it could, he's like, ugh, of course.
Well, it honestly makes him the most human because you never know where he stands. Like he just changes his it's just like he has so many emotions.
You really see him working through it more than the others because he goes back and forth.
It's a painful process, but again, that's like learning and growing. That's more of a realistic arc than
Hmm.
some of the others.
Speaking of, let's do a quick refresh on where we are in Tower of Dawn before we get into chapter 36. Nezrin flew to the Rook area in the Tavan Mountains with Sartak to learn what they know of the Volg. There, she met Sartak's hearth mother, Hulan, and his hearth sister, Borte.
And a guest of Hulan's, Falcon, a shapeshifter from Otterlin who traded years of his life to a Stygian spider for spider silk. You know, he made a deal, and now he's trying to find a way to get his years back like a bum, respectfully. I still like I don't know why that pisses me off so much, but he's not even trying to give the spider silk back and get a refund. He just wants his years back.
Yeah, he's not even sorry. They learn the Stygian spiders and their southern counterparts, the Karen Kui,
That
are
is I'm so impressed every time you say that word.
thanks. They're Volg who came through a word gate that opened in the Tavan Mountains.
And after the Vogue were defeated, the Fae built watchtowers and taught the Rooks how to fight the spiders. Sartak and Nezrin fly to one of those watchtowers and are attacked by a spider, but they're saved by Falcon, who's injured in the fight. They return to the Eyrie, and Nezrin finally tells Sartak about the word keys, or actually, Hulan tells him about the word keys and she confirms it, but he's a little butthurt that she hadn't told him before that.
She still doesn't give him all the details
She
anyway.
also doesn't know that much about him.
Well, yeah, like I barely know you. I'm not just going to unload everything, especially if it could be
I
a
would have.
turning
I would have
point.
told so many people about the word keys mine. I'd have like a burner Twitter that I'm tweeting about it.
I know I'm saying that like I understand Nezrin, but like I can't keep my mouth shut. I have to discuss everything to like work it through. Back in Antica, Irene and Kale learn there may be answers as to why there are ancient texts and scrolls about the Volg at the Torre Library and desert caves the royals use as resorts.
They're also growing closer and closer. And as Kale talks about his trauma and begins to heal emotionally, he's regaining movement in his legs all the way up to his knees.
That's where we pick up in chapter 36, 3 weeks after Nezrin left for the mountains.
Three
Ka-
again. There's a lot of threes.
lot of threes. It's very specific. Kale spends each morning training with the guards and each afternoon healing with Irene.
He even joined Irene's self defense lessons again, which is huge considering how the first time went. So Kale and Irene have kind of settled into this routine and it's comfortable, but there's still this looming threat of whatever chased Irene into Kale's room. And even though he's made so much progress in the healing, Kale hasn't made any progress in getting the Kogan to help in the war against Morath.
At dinner in the Great Hall, Hussar's like, Kale, you must be so pleased. Nezrin's due back tomorrow.
She's such a bitch
Oh
sometimes.
my God, it's
If
awful.
I like, I know that later on when they go to the caves, Irene is they have a moment where it's like, I know it's not easy being my friend. Yeah, it's not. You're a raging bitch
Also,
sometimes.
there's an imbalance of power here,
Yes.
but okay.
I yeah, I go back and forth on Hussar too. But with everything that Irene and Kale have talked about, Nezrin is one topic they've been avoiding. And even though technically nothing has happened yet, Irene hearing that Nezrin is on her way back, her heart just drops into her ass. It's like she's not ready for their little bubble to burst.
Kale counters, but didn't you hear the news? He received word that Nezrin and Sartak have extended their trip by another 3 weeks. That's so like side note, like in most stories you hear about a fortnight, like 2 weeks. I'm like,
Mhm.
3. Okay. He doesn't tell them about the part of the letter that he's still trying to figure out. The phrase, quote, they fly free here.
And that's not the only news because Kale really thinks here, like, got him. But Argan and Hussar heard what happened in Skulls Bay. You know, the place that Kale said Aelin was because he thought that was the last place that she would go.
And hearing about the battle, Duba asks if the win was in Aelin's favor or
I'm
Parrington's.
sorry, since when do you care?
Duba doesn't speak.
The
Interesting.
spies they had in Skulls Bay, which they were there because of Chaos Tip,
Yes.
they reported that Aelin burned the sky itself, then wiped most of the fleet out in a single blow. Again, this is not good PR for her. But Kale does push back on Aelin burning villages along Eelway's coast because he knows how much Nehemia meant to her.
Yeah, he's still a little hesitant on some of this. He almost reveals that fact to the Coggin, which would be revealing a potential weakness of Aelin's, but he switches strategies at the last second and says Nehemia's family would be better used as an ally, and Aelin is smart enough to know that.
I suppose you'd know since you were her lover at some point, or Dorian was, or both. We wanted both, but no. It was too confusing for even the spies to figure out. And Argan and Hussar are just in, like, they have an agenda in this.
They have a way to weasel out of this regardless of whatever answer Kale gives. Like
Right. It
they're
doesn't
super,
matter.
super prepared. Clearly went into this with an agenda.
Like, with all that power, maybe Aelin's going to set her sights on the southern continent. Irene's like, let's circle back to Kale and Aelin because that is not something she knew. I would also be, I wouldn't give a shit about the other stuff. I'd be like, so back to the part about you dating.
I know that they haven't discussed the subject of Nezrin, but
You
if
didn't
I'm
discuss Aelin?
if I'm interested in a guy, I have a lot of questions about who's been around your bed
Mhm.
recently. Like I can't
Right.
help myself. I want to
I
know.
would have already unloaded all of my trauma and history. I would expect the same.
I have to know. Kale swears to the Coggin that Aelin only seeks to liberate, not conquer.
It's his reasoning that pisses me off. He's like, my king wouldn't ally with her if it were otherwise. Like, you really don't know Aelin well enough to at least know that she's not a conqueror? Like, what in her history would ever make you think that she's going to try to conquer?
And we'll get into this again as Kale has his own thoughts to himself later, but Kale literally swore to the Coggin when he first got there that Aelin drew a line in the sand and that she would never cross when it came to like harming children.
Mhm.
He's never seen her harm innocents. All the things he's seen her do were for people that whether they deserve death or not, they weren't good people. You
Oh,
know,
I'm gonna
she's
get so heated when we get to his inner dialogue later. Inner dialogue? Inner monologue?
yeah, it could be dialogue. I don't know. I will also jump on that train, so we're gonna have to like take some deep breaths before we get into it. Hussar asked Kale to swear on Irene's life that Aelin would never try to take their armies, and he can't. Like this is court. Just fucking lie.
That's what my initial reaction is rage, as with everything. You can't just this one time take up for Aelin. You can't just fucking lie. But devil's advocate, Aelin would do anything to save her people. That is true. And Kale's world is so black and white, but war exists in a gray area. Sometimes you have to do shit for a greater good. So I understand Kale's internal hesitation. Just fucking lie. Even Irene is thinking, just say yes, but he can't.
But I mean, even if she would do anything to save her people, she still has some lines in the sand that he knows she won't cross. So I'm like, that's not really fair, Kale.
Well, even with Eelway, I don't think it would be that bad to tell the Coggin about Nehemia and Aylin's friendship, to explain, hey, she would never burn the coast because she cared deeply for a friend who I let die.
Well, like, they always walked the palace grounds together, so if
Mhm.
there's a spy anywhere around, they were seen together a shit ton.
You're
It's not a
so right.
secret.
No, you're actually, because
This is
they
not
say they have
hidden.
spies everywhere.
Yeah, they would know.
Like, even if you don't trust Aelin, you should be able to say she's not burning Eelway and she's not a conqueror. Those are 2 things I can guarantee. Like, at least we're gonna have to revisit it because it's the reasons he's giving in his head that really send me over the edge.
It's like he has so much progress when he's thinking about it, but his gut reaction is to revert to old thoughts that you're like,
Also,
"That doesn't
your
make
fucking
sense."
butt buddy's right there beside her.
Yeah.
Who else was in Skulls Bay?
Yeah, I see him standing up against her. Oh, right. He's not.
Mhm.
Seeing Cal's hesitation, the Coggin thinks or hopes that maybe Parrington and Aelin will destroy each other.
It's actually Caution who cuts in. You're talking about how powerful Aelin is. Would it not be beneficial to get on the good side of someone like that, especially since our people in the southern continent are not magically gifted outside of the healers? So, really, if Aelin wanted to, she could come over here. She's not going to, but she could come over here and fuck shit up.
Yeah, let's like
Let's get on her good side.
appease her so she doesn't want to come down here. Argan argues a wise ruler would have gone to Terrasen and fortified her borders, so either she's an idiot or her advisors are, but Kale cuts in. They are well trained warriors who've seen way more war and battles than you ever will.
He will literally take up for anyone other than Aelin.
Excuse me.
Anyone.
The Coggin shuts down the convo, and Kale returns to his room
And
seething.
this is where my devil's advocacy ends. Because this makes me so fucking angry. I have to remind myself, like, these are fictional characters. But I get so mad because I have been able to see where Kale is coming from so much more in this reread. Like, I think we've been more than fair, but he's thinking about why he can't vouch for Aelin. And it's not just the, oh, Aelin would do anything for her people in her court. No, he's thinking about that whore, Archer, a literal murderer, Grave, and the overseers in Endovier. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, every time he goes back to her, like, dead eyes with Archer, I'm like, he literally just betrayed her. Of course her eyes are dead. She's gutted. Like, what's wrong with
Well, he's
you?
even thinking Rowan's a good male, but will Aelin listen to him? Bitch, Rowan leveled an entire city.
Yeah,
He's
so
even
there.
willing to see the good in Adian. I love Adian, but they've all done fucked up shit for the greater good. Why is it only Aelin that he refuses to give any credit, to give any benefit of the doubt? He can't, it's like he just cannot do that for Aelin.
It
I
just
don't
it
understand.
doesn't make sense how
He's
any
literally like, well, I mean, Rowan's great, Adian's great, and Dorian, like they're all right there beside her.
I mean, it's just like it's so ingrained in him that he can't let some of these things go. You're like, that just the way, and we'll get into it again later with his argument with Irene. I'm like, that is the opposite of what you just thought to yourself earlier, but like,
Though
okay.
there's a moment he says something to Irene that it's like a complete 180 from these thoughts.
He's actually thinking, why couldn't Aelin keep herself in check? She probably just cost us the war.
I'm
When
gonna have to keep myself in check.
keep her in check, what the fuck are you talking about?
He doesn't have any context because he doesn't even know about Deanna.
He's
Or
never seen Aelin lose control. What are you talking about?
I'll
It's
show
all
you
been
lose control.
cultivated. She's thought out everything. Like,
That's
what?
what whenever a guy's been like, you're acting insane, I'm like, I'll show you
Do
insane.
not ask me. You will see.
It's Aelin is trying to save the world.
Yeah.
But also your butt buddy Dorian was right there with her in Skulls Bay. Just what's wild is he's also thinking about all of the pain and trauma that he's being forced to relive during the healing sessions and how he hasn't told Irene just how badly he failed, how wrongly he judged, how it cost him everything. And it's like, wait, have things changed?
Have we learned from our
Because
mistakes?
I'm not sure that I will think that he's changed and then something like this happens.
I also think I don't okay, like, the alleged burning of the coast in EOA, bad, but, like, Skulls Bay, Aelin showed immense power, and she destroyed the enemy.
Mhm.
Where did she not hold herself back? How is that
Right.
custom she did exactly what we need her to do?
She somehow did that after being possessed by a literal god.
It's not like fortunately, the spies didn't catch on that she almost killed the innocents, like, she was killing the bad guys, so, like, why is
But
this a
also
bad
that
thing?
they're acting like she forced Rolf to bend the knee, and she I mean, she did kinda, like, blackmail him, but they're acting like the sequence of events is different. Like, Rolf had already, like, made the deal with her,
Yeah,
and then that they're making it seem like she was threatening to use her power against Skulls Bay and, like, took it over like a conqueror.
but they're also
That's just not what
talking
happened.
about her being a conqueror, and if you're a conqueror, you're going after something that, like, adds benefit to your kingdom, like, Skulls Bay does not do very much for Terrasen, that's why
Yeah,
Adian says, "I never would have directed her to go here," so that still doesn't make sense for the conqueror, like,
yeah.
thought line, but whatever. Kale does later come to the realization that it wouldn't have mattered what Aelin did or didn't do.
They would have twisted the narrative no matter what. If Aelin had been like a damsel in distress, she would have been weak. Like, why would we want to ally with someone that weak? And she shows how strong she is. Now she's unpredictable. So there's just no winning.
Which, like, thanks, Kale, for getting there
Now that you've
eventually.
gone through and thought about all the quote unquote terrible things she's done, which I still can't believe he brought up Endovir. But oh, it wouldn't have actually mattered.
Just the way that he has to, like, talk himself out of any of that, you're like, "You don't know by now? Really?" Caution lets himself into Kale's room by picking the garden door's lock, a skill that he learned for sneaking into and out of ladies'
You
bedrooms.
know Caution and Sartak fuck.
Yes. And so I would love to hear more, please.
Well, I've been thinking a lot on Caution, not just him fucking,
Okay.
but it's a lot like Az.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think Irene has straight up told Caution I'm not interested, but it is pretty obvious at this point.
I
Like,
think
Moore hasn't did she say it?
I forgot when they were at the steps, didn't he, like, officially try to, like, make a move
Yeah.
and she was like, "No."
Well, Moore hasn't even done that.
That is
Like,
wild
in
more.
500 years,
How
again, Az is a spy master, probably should have put it together at this point, read the room. And I think sleeping with other like, you know how she sleeps with other men to, I guess, tell him that she's not interested romantically? I think that's very bizarre, especially if you're sleeping with a man to show that you like women. That's bizarre.
But also, you trying to tell me that Az, as his spy master, hasn't figured out that Moore's sleeping with women? Like, if they have such great senses of smell, you can't figure out that, like, this is not her cup of tea?
Well, I have some theories. So
Okay.
I think Caution should stop pursuing Irene. Like, it's just harder because I've been like, what do you mean you don't want to fuck this prince? It's harder because he's an attractive prince.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of my frustration comes from Irene as a friend, not even saying, like, "I'm sorry about your sister," but men will twist anything into an opening, I get that part. I love the theory that Az isn't in love with Moore, he follows her around because he doesn't trust her.
Ooh.
Because there's a line from Jurian that is always stuck out in my head, and he says, "You were always such a liar, Moore." That line keeps me up at night.
Well, yeah, isn't her power truth?
I know, and then
Oh, that's
but
telling.
then another not really theory, but is as the kind of damaged where he falls for unavailable women because he doesn't see himself as worthy. And I think that Moore sends more mixed signals than Irene. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far off the rail, but the whole dynamic with Moore, really with the whole inner circle is just so interesting.
Well, like, as you say that about Az not seeing himself as worthy, is he also doing it to avoid something else? Like, he intentionally sets himself up for, like, damaged women or something that won't work out so he doesn't
Mhm.
have to actually deal with
Yeah,
something else?
exactly.
But also, Moore is a total bitch for not
I
telling him, like, after
know.
that many years, like,
Well,
just
I think
talk to
that
him.
she probably originally planned for Az and Moore to be together, and
Oh,
when ACOTAR came out, there was a lot of backlash about not having diverse characters.
okay.
I I mean, like, this is just vibes, I'm probably wrong. I feel like Moore was turned like, that character was changed just so she could say she had LGBTQIA+ plus characters. That was always my vibe.
Mhm.
'Cause there was nothing in the beginning. I mean, not that she would be wearing, like, a rainbow shirt when she went to go get Feyre out of the Spring Court, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like that might have not been the intention from the beginning.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, definitely possible. Kasha knows his brother and Nezrin are looking for answers regarding the threat, that Sartak takes the threat seriously. That's probably why Argun and Hisar Argun? Argun. I don't know, I can't say that right. That's probably why Argun and Hisar presented a united front against Chaol tonight. They have a limited window until Sartak is back to influence the Kagan.
Caution doesn't agree with how his siblings went about it, but the cost of joining the war would be very high. Like, not just resources, but their people. A Kagan has never sent the entirety of their army to a foreign land. It is a big commitment to get
Well,
into a war that is so far not affecting you.
we don't know enough about the entire world to know if there's other continents or
We
like
really
other
don't.
enemies and they would leave themselves exposed. So, like,
Mhm.
it is a very big thing to consider. There is one piece of information that Argan failed to include tonight. Their vizier of foreign trade received a large, lucrative order for fire lances from Captain Rolfe months ago. And when news arrived of Skulls Bay falling to Aelin, it also came with an order for even more fire lances. Very expensive fire lances, which is very good for their economy.
Kale asks Caution if he personally wants to join the war. And it does seem like he does, like that's where the destiny is taking him. But like Sartak told Kale early on, Caution's a daddy's boy. So he and therefore the horse lords and the land armies that he commands, they're going to do whatever his father orders.
I do like that Caution is loyal.
Hmm.
In the Tavin Mountains, Nezrin is also feeling the pressure of time as the 3 weeks come to an end. Falcon needs 10 days to recover from his fight with the spider at the watchtower, and they still need to check the other towers.
I love when he's later on, we're not even to these chapters yet, but when he's in her pocket and he's like pressing his little hands. So cute. I wish I had a shifter friend.
It just makes me think again of the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac
Yes.
when who is it? Ryder ends up being a little
Mhm.
baby snake, like a pencil size
Or
in
the
Gabriel's
one,
pocket.
the rat shifters that are always stealing everyone's panties. But in the meantime, Sartak has been taking. So in the meantime, while he was injured and then recovering, Sartak has been taking Nezrin to other Aeries to meet the Hearth mothers and captains, both male and female. And we know how important that is to Nezrin after her experience as a woman in the city guard in Otterlin.
Some, like the Berland, were less inviting, but most were welcoming. They asked for demonstrations with her bow and arrow, and for all she showed them, she learned too.
Sartak even let her ride alone on Kadara. Like, Nezrin is living her best life. She is thriving. And what I love about Sartak, and I guess what I like any great MMC, it's or a real man, I don't know. It's like they push you forward. They're like she's being introduced to these people and he hypes her up.
Oh.
You know, like it's like not letting her hang back like she usually does. Like I just love a man enamored with a woman, like in awe of her. And I think that's why I love Elite and Lorcan so much. Not to bring everything back to Lorcan, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, they really see their woman and they respect her and they
Like as
want
an equal.
they're praising you for it. Doesn't matter if it's something small. They're like, "No, don't downplay this. This is impressive. I love this about you."
Well, it's easy to forget that Sartak is a prince.
Sartek has a lot going for him,
Mhm.
so for him not to be so prideful that he can't see what others could bring to the table is really important.
And he bucks.
Yeah, he does. He ties that hair back and he's like, "Let's do it,
Oh my
girl."
god. No, 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 no. Okay, so he lays you down and he takes the tie out of his hair and ties your hands with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
I've
know
thought about this a lot. You know
Yeah,
what?
you clearly
There's
have.
this
You do what you
big
must.
book talk drama right now because there's this really big creator and she did this paid promotion with an AI company. And
Oh.
it's this you can like chat back and forth with a character. Which I mean, it's like there's intellectual property. You can't just use like I know that Lights Out was on there, like that you can talk back and forth with Josh or Reese or whoever, and everyone hates her because of it. What
Oh.
happened to all of our just like daydreaming? Are we not just like maladaptive daydreaming anymore?
Yeah, I mean, like, I appreciate her idea behind it because people love these characters so much, but, like,
That's someone else's.
to actually go in and put words in their mouth, like, it's one thing if you write fan fiction, but that's, like,
Exactly. That's the
too
difference.
far. Oh.
Well, I mean, every night before I go to bed, I have this, like, scenario rotation
Oh, okay.
that I go through, and I'm just like, I don't know what you call that. Do other people do that? I'd like, let me know if you do that because I have, like, these scenarios that I play out, and sometimes, like, I'll get ahead of it, like, I'll get ahead of what is happening in my storyline, and I'm like, "No, no, no, go back."
I guess it depends what I'm, like, hyper fixating on at the time for, like, what I'm thinking
No, I
about.
have stuff that's been on rotation. I mean, I like think about if I were in ACOTAR or like I think about all the time if I were in Black Dagger Brotherhood and I like moved to Caldwell, New York, and I like found out about vampires. And in that scenario, I'm like a fairy or something that has very addictive blood.
Ooh.
So of course they're all obsessed with me, but then I have to figure out like my fairy ancestry and like there's a lot going on. So we don't need AI, you guys.
Kate, you are very important, and it's clear you're not like other girls.
I know in all of my daydreaming, I'm not like other girls. And then in my real life, I'm just like, I'm like every other bitch.
I
And it's
mean, but,
fine.
like, that's good. You should have main character energy for your own life.
Oh my
That's a
God.
good
I
move.
have so many. I have like, I will cross them too. Like, I'll have like where I lived in Crescent City. So I have like my modern life. And then I somehow end up over in Prithian. And then I'm like, I was with Hunt in Crescent, like in Midgard, and so
Mhm.
then I meet Reese, and I find out that he is my mate, but Hunt's also my mate because in my daydreams you can have mates in different worlds.
Different area codes.
Yeah, it was a
It's
different
allowed.
area codes. So then I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, and then Hunt, of course, he like comes over, and it's like, oh, it's very dramatic.
Or is
This is
it
the shit.
a lot of fun?
But then I'm trying to fall asleep, but then I'm like, no, I want to finish this storyline. But then I have no talent in writing, or I would put all this in writing for no one.
Oh, you do.
Mhm.
You could play this out. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'm gonna write some fan fiction, but it all stars me.
Well, just don't tell us it's you. Like,
Yeah,
put it
I'll
out
use a
there, see
different
what people
name.
think.
Kate with a K.
Well, Nezrin can't really picture her life in Rifthold anymore. It feels like another lifetime, another world, one that she doesn't want to go back to.
She's content here. She's comfortable. Like, and she's only known these people for 3 weeks, but she sings for them. And she's never said, like, Kale doesn't even know that she has this beautiful voice. Me? God knew not to give me talent because I would be insufferable. I would be that little girl holding everyone hostage on the plane singing. But I also highlighted there's another little Easter egg about Falcon. When Hulan asked for a tale from Otterlin, he says, I did have an interesting visit to the Red Desert once.
I know. I'm like, why didn't we
Mm,
expound upon that? But this also, talking about Nezrin, it goes back to what we were saying earlier for a lead. There's something about being with complete strangers that helps you to
yes.
be the most yourself just because nobody has a preconceived notion of
Hmm.
you. And Nezrin and Kale kind of doomed any future relationship because they never got out of their original what's the word I'm looking for? Like the way that they
They're not hierarchy, but they're dynamic.
yeah, the original dynamic, just that's what it is. They never really got out of that because
I
they've
also
known each
feel
other
like
too
they had
long.
boring sex.
I feel like they had I'm feeling horny, you're close by,
Hmm.
like, I hope it was more exciting than that,
Yeah, I don't
but
think it was passionate. Not in my scenario rotation.
well, it's not like Nesrin was really seeking Kale out from what
Yeah.
we understood, so it's not the same. This is all very exciting, and of course, Sartak sees Nesrin for her.
Well, what movie is it where he's like, I didn't want to say anything, but I'm the songbird of our generation. Stepbrother, maybe? Stepbrothers?
Is
It's
it?
like I'm the songbird of our
Boats and
generation.
hoes?
Yeah. But then when he finally sings, you think he's gonna be really good.
I forgot that specific
He
quote,
sings
but
a Fergie song, I think. So funny.
it's funny. Well, a different type of song. Nesrin sings a song that her mother used to sing to her, a song of what Otterlin was in better days, what it might be come again. Everyone is awestruck, and when they ask, she surprises herself by singing another and another.
She feels Sartak's stare different from any he's given her before, and though she tells herself she should, she does not look away.
I'm not prepared to make eye contact while singing. Like
I
that's
didn't even think about
I think
that.
that's a little too much for me,
Well,
but
I like to imagine her actually having a good voice. What's so
yeah.
funny about Aelin is Kale's such a fucking hater because remember when she was singing this like very emotional funeral song and he was like
Uh-huh.
not a great voice. His like chair on the voice didn't turn around. Like I'm not doing this for
But it's also I guess at least that's honest. But yeah, I mean, I do love that Sartak, it sounds like he is just like dumbstruck. Like he already thought she was really great
Mhm.
and now he's like in awe, which is
Wow.
sweet. A few days later, when Falcon is healed, they visit the other watchtowers. They find nothing at the first two except more Fey made weapons, but the 3 weeks Nezrin promised Kale are up.
Sartak shows Nezrin a young Rook whose rider died. The invitation is obvious in more ways than one. And Nezrin tells Sartak she asked for another 3 weeks, and a lot can happen in 3 weeks. Like, I personally have had entire relationships that began, peaked, and ended blew up in 3 weeks, but he's definitely putting it out there of, like, not only putting it out there as this rook needs a rider, but also a lot can happen.
I mean, look at what's already happened, how far we've already
Mhm.
come. The next day, Sartak, Nezran, Borte, and Falcon fly to the final tower on a rare plane amid the mountains.
Nezrin asks Borte if she chose her rook or the other way around, and Borte answers it's mutual. Like if you know, you know, and deep down Nezrin knows.
The tower collapsed at some point, blocking the lower levels, which is where Falcon comes in. He shifts into a millipede, gross, and to Borte's delight, waves at them with
I
his
do
tiny
love
legs.
that.
It's just like there's some moments where they're like unserious and it's
Well, what is
cute.
that cartoon that has like a centipede waving? He's like, "Hello." He has like an accent.
It's like, you mean Bug's Life? Where it's like a little
Maybe.
caterpillar and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm a beautiful butterfly. And he's just
Yes.
huge.
That's what I'm
I
picturing.
haven't watched that in so long. How cute. But it is cute. He just like gives him a little wave before he slithers down between the stones.
Well, Borte is also us because she has a million questions like, do you shit as an animal? My question, are you fucking other
We've
animals?
asked these questions ourselves on the
Yeah.
show.
But the question she asked about when you eat as an animal, does the meat fit in your human stomach? That's a valid question because it makes me think of Lysandra throwing up on Lorcan after eating all those Vogue. Or
Yeah.
even, did you watch this week's episode of Black Dagger Brotherhood?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so we finally get the
Ew.
rage eating someone.
Ew.
I'm gonna like I have nothing but good things to say about the show so far. The what
The,
is it
the
called?
beast?
The Beast. Uh
Oh
it's
no.
I wish they had just stuck with like using our imagination or like maybe even having it reflected in Wrath's glasses because I was like, oh, did I make this in clip art?
Oh no. I mean, we did
Like,
talk about some of the budget, like,
I
okay,
know.
some of the
I was like, we
effects.
didn't have to show it, but we did get Butch and Marissa meeting for the first time, and like that's
Oh.
something I'm excited. I know it's not the next, but what is that book 4 maybe? But
Yeah, because
it's
it's right after Zetas.
well, I hope they stick with it. Also, it said at the end that they filmed in Georgia. Like, you know, I was watching the credits like a
Okay.
psycho. We're so like, why weren't we invited to
We
the
were so
set?
close.
Maybe for season 2, they'll
Yeah, like
invite us.
let's get our names in there, please. Sartak, who is freaked out by the idea of shifting, asks if seeing Lysandra's shift freaked Nezran out, but she hadn't seen Lysandra's shift until that day at the Glass Castle after magic was freed.
And Borte's like, "Don't you want to go north and meet shifters and fire-breathing queens and fey princes?" But their convo is cut short when a crew of Berlin Rook riders pull up.
The least welcoming area they'd visited and one of the most powerful.
And they don't bow to Sartak like, "Excuse me, he's
So
still the
fucking rude.
prince."
Borte's like, get the fuck out of here, Urine.
I love the urine Borte
I just love that he like
dynamic
keeps like
because
picking at
that is
her.
her betrothed, and you wouldn't know it by the way they interact. But he's like, "Oh, I see you're still yapping."
I think it makes their sex life extra spicy. Sartak asks what brings the unit this far south, and Yaren tells him 3 hatchlings went missing. They've tried to track them, assuming it was poachers, but haven't been able to find a scent or tracks. When Sartak warns them not to track any farther into the Daggle Fells, Yaren guesses it's the Karen Kui.
Urine tells Sartak that if the spiders are stirring, they need to prepare before it's too late. But before he fucks off, Urine winks at Borte, who gives him a classic SJM vulgar gesture. I have another question I want people to weigh in on. When you picture not Nezrin, Jesus, Nesta going into the cauldron and she points at the King of Hybern. So we did like this funny little reel about that. And we got a lot of comments that were like, I thought she used her middle finger or like that she was flipping him off. I didn't like pointing to me is not your middle
You
finger.
pointing with your middle finger is
That's
weird.
weird.
I don't remember. I have to reread the scene because I don't remember exactly how it's phrased, but
It's
I
like
imagine just
an
like,
up and then just a point.
yeah, I would
Like a
imagine it's a
menacing because you
very
later she
focused.
points at someone up in what is it called? Windhaven, and they're all like, "Oh, a witch!" And she wouldn't be doing that with her middle finger.
No, one, you don't point with your middle finger. Also, if you're giving a vulgar gesture, it's kind of ruined by the trying to point it. Like it just looks silly. I don't
Yeah.
know. Falcon reports there's nothing to see under the ruins, and looking toward the fells, Nezrin says it's time for a new strategy anyway.
Back in Antica, Kale interrupts the Coggins trade meeting, but he's not there to meet with the Coggin. He's there to meet with the foreign trade vizier.
Using information provided by Caution, Kale asks about the fire lances that are ordered before and, more importantly, after Aylin's arrival in Skulls Bay.
which the Coggin did not know about.
Not only that, but Kale wants to double Aylin's order using those 4 trunks of treasure that he brought with him.
Oh, the blood money? You want to use the blood money now? The Coggin sees right through Kael's little performance and he doesn't like being manipulated. Then he asks if Kael even knows what warfare is, not just strategy and battle, because Kael is more like he knows the idea of war, like war as a theory, but what you're going to face when you go up against Morath is going to be very different in reality because I it's very easy to get frustrated with the Coggin because we want his help, but you're also like, okay, the war is not on your continent yet, but Morath isn't gonna stop at conquering half of the world, but I almost respect his hesitation because he's a lot more cautious with his people. He would be sending his people to die in a war that may or may not affect them. And the Coggin isn't like the kings that we know. Like he seems to care a lot more about his people.
I mean, I hear exactly what the Coggin is saying, but at the same time, the way he's talking to Kale, like, do you have any idea what warfare is? It doesn't matter. I'm not asking you to go to war because of like a petty fight I'm having with somebody over land or something. Like,
Mhm.
these people aren't just conquering, they are destroying
Yeah.
and corrupting. Like, it is way more than just like these guys are ruthless. There's so much more to it. And it is coming your way. Like, I think the Coggin obviously is lost in his grief and it's a
Yeah.
big decision and it's a lot to have to try to sort through right now. The Coggin reminds Kale that he asked him to wait to give him time to mourn his
Who
daughter.
might have been murdered, Kale cuts in, warning the Coggin that Parrington's influence might already be in Antica. Like, you don't want me manipulating you. He might already be manipulating you.
I don't think this was wrong, but I feel like Kale could have presented this better because also like we can't wait because Parrington has had a decade of
Mhm.
like encroaching on this continent, but now he's making really big moves. There's no time to waste. And that's not even with the potential that they're in your continent.
Well, this is why you should give jobs to people with experience. Like, nothing against Kale, but yeah, he's not the best.
He's no negotiator
Yeah.
or like any kind of court. He's not very good at any of these conversations. But at his comments, the Coggin dismisses Kale.
And despite going into this meeting thinking standing or sitting, I can make a difference, Kale wishes he begs his legs to stand. And you think it's because he wants to fight the guards. And it's like even worse because it's the guards that he's been training with, like Shin, and they're having to forcibly wheel him out of the room. But later, what's so sad is he's telling Irene that he didn't want to stand up to fight them. He wanted to beg, but he couldn't even get on his knees.
I mean,
What would you have actually gotten on your knees? I don't know.
do you have to stand to be able to get on your knees? Could you not just like force yourself out of the
Just
chair?
flop.
I mean, like none of it's going to look great, but at least you I don't know. Before he's escorted back to his rooms, Kale warns the Coggin not to make the same mistakes that he
You're still
did.
making mistakes.
Do you
Okay.
know who you're talking to? Like, calm down, sir. But you don't want to stand on the wrong side of the line for too long and lose everything because of it.
So Kale is in another great mood when Irene comes to his room for their next healing sesh. I know that Kale is upset. Kale has a lot of pressure on him and they're running out of time, especially because there is a finite time that an armada can sail the narrow sea before it gets too rough. So like they're
Mhm.
running out of time on a lot of different fronts. Kale is very bad about misplacing his anger. And what I love about Irene is she gives it right back to him. Like Aelin did too, but Kale could very easily write Aelin off as being like morally inferior to him.
Mhm.
It seems to be more effective coming from Irene. And Nezrin didn't really care enough to fight. Like my personality honestly is the most like Nezrin when it comes to fighting. I kind of shut down too. But so I would have walked right back out. If I had been in Irene's shoes and he had said what he says to her, I would have left.
I mean, I know Kale how old is he supposed to be again? Like 23,
22,
24?
23.
I just it is an ick for me that people cannot get a hold of
Regulate
their
your
anger.
emotions.
Yeah, like, I know he's young. There's a
Men are
lot of
like toddlers when they get
well,
mad.
there's a lot of growing to do, but it pisses me off. I'm like, "Are you being fucking serious right
Mhm.
now? None of this has anything to do with me. You will not talk to me that way, number 1. Number 2, if you allegedly have respect for me, you're not gonna hit me below the belt with your
Yeah.
comments. Like, I don't have time
It's
for that.
very below the belt, and she just kind of lets it go.
I mean,
I wouldn't let that go.
she does fire back at him, but I maybe it's just me. I also would be extra scathing and like, "Who do you think you're talking to like that?"
Oh my god, I would destroy I'd bring it up for the next decade.
But also just like, I'm helping to save your life and literally give you the ability to walk again. You need to sit down
Yeah,
and
how
shut
are
up.
those knees feeling, you fuck? I would, you know what, I wish I could reverse my healing, I'd put it all back into
Yeah,
him.
you really wanna push this? Irene does not walk out though. She refuses to let Kale backslide, to slip back into his shame and guilt. You wanna walk so badly? Get the fuck up.
Well, it's like Kale told Aelin to get up at the end of book 1 with the when Cain was coming after her
Mhm.
and he was telling her to get up, and then when Aelin had kind of hit her rock bottom at Mistward, her younger self was telling her to get up, so the get up thing is like a recurring theme.
Yeah.
But they go back and forth, the blows getting lower and lower, and Chaol calling out Irene's relief at hearing Nezrin extended her trip. Irene pointing out Nezrin was probably tired of being a consolation prize.
I love Irene for
I
saying that. I was
know,
like, "Damn,
and
you put
his
that
history
together."
with Aelin, but then this is when Chaol takes it too far. I knew another woman who lost as much as you. She hunted down the people responsible for it. What have you done? I don't even, first of all, project much? Like, that is Chaol's guilt and insecurities talking because he's really thinking, what have I done? He's accusing Irene of only healing when in fact all he's been doing is healing. So it's like he's yelling at himself. Like everything with Chaol, his outbursts are all self loathing, but that doesn't make it okay. But also, you've been so shitty about the things that Aylin's done, and now you're throwing them into someone else's face because they haven't done those things. Like, what the fuck?
Well, you can't have it both ways, Kale. You know, you think Aelin is morally corrupt. You have horrible things to say about Aelin and what she's done and the killing that she's
Oh my
done.
God.
And here you are praising her for it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is it good or bad? How do we
This
feel?
is
Make up
such
your
a
mind.
honest and real depiction of a man because it hits so much audacity.
It just, ugh, Kale, like I just can't even with you. But as soon as the words leave his mouth, Kale regrets them immediately. He immediately knows that he went too far. Kale thinks of all the people that he let go, the people that he didn't go after. And as Irene pushes down the handle of the door, he takes a step toward her.
And he doesn't even realize he's walking at first. Like, that's how upset he is, how desperate he is to reach her before it's too late. And as he takes one swaying, staggering step after another, Irene keeps backing up. And then it finally hits him like, she's fucking with me. She's goading me into walking. And she keeps backing up until her back hits the wall. Then he kisses her. Can we go back to what you said to me? Because I don't care that you didn't mean it. You still said it. Like, I just think she gets over this so quickly.
Well, like, even if you understood that he's talking about himself, I don't care. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get to talk to
Oh,
me
I'd be
like that.
so mad.
Just period. You know, like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, okay, kiss me.
I'm a big fan of the silent treatment. I can go radio silent for days. You won't even know I'm in the
I
room.
mean, it's one thing to start a fake fight, but like that fake fight has become a real fight and I'm
Mhm.
not okay with it anymore. But in Irene's POV, she describes the kiss as waking up or being born or falling out of the sky.
I
It was
mean,
an
I
answer.
is it that good?
I mean, maybe she hasn't had a lot of kisses. I don't know. I'm just
That's
kidding.
true.
It was an answer in a song, and she could not think or feel fast enough.
Kale is off leash, y'all, but he is not 100% healed, so they take things to the chair, a little meals on wheels, if you will. Just as Kaja comes back from whatever bullshit assignment, you know, every day Kaja's like, we both know this isn't a real assignment.
Well, she's getting
Just tell me
faster.
to leave.
The fact that they're like, "Oops, she's already back. Whoops, figured that one out." When Irene asks what they do now, Kale answers, "They don't look back. It helps no one and nothing to look back."
Which mirrors what Aelin told Kale in Queen of Shadows. We do not look back, Kale. It helps no one and nothing to look back. We can only go on.
You know what else I will say? Like, Kale said things below the back to Aelin, and he was still fuming after those fights when he left.
Mhm.
He says one thing below the back to Irene, and he's like, below the belt to Irene, and he's immediately like, "Oops, I'm so sorry."
Crawling,
Like,
yeah.
the level of respect that he has for Irene
Mhm.
compared to Aelin, like, I am so glad that he respects Irene.
It just
But
makes
it's
me mad
yeah,
for
the way that he didn't allegedly he loved Aelin, but clearly didn't find her worthy of the same respect pisses me
Mhm.
off. For the
You're
next
so right.
I know. Well, and to be fair, with Aelin, he felt so betrayed that he didn't want to show her it's a different a different, like, pissiness and anger, but still, it just there's a moment there. For the next week, Irene continues battling with the darkness, still clinging to the base of Chaol's spine.
He may be able to walk with the help of a cane, but he's still not at full capacity. But Irene's at full mast watching him duel Hashim.
Mm.
She even licks the sweat from his neck.
Ew.
And I know I said that I would let Dorian spit in my mouth. I don't know about licking sweat. Like, I've probably unintentionally licked sweat because you just can't help it. But this is a big jump from like brushing their fingers in secret.
Okay, here's the thing. Licking sweat could be very hot. I overthink things because that's who I am. We know it's dusty and dirty there, and I'm like, "Did you just lick dirt?"
Yeah, what's clinging to this
If
sweat?
you were inside training, I wanna know
They
more
don't
about the
have
sweat,
deodorant either.
but you're outside training, and I'm like, "Ugh, what's in there?" I'm taking it I've ruined it. But this is not a secret anymore.
There's a couple of guys I'd probably lick their sweat.
Oh my god, if we're inside? Yes.
If we're
Uh,
what's the AC look like?
yeah, if you're outside covered in dirt, let's shower first, like, I don't know. But thinking that there are a couple of horny workers, a servant rips back a curtain, finding them and seeing them together.
So they've been keeping their hands and sweat to themselves. They don't have HIPAA there, but it can't look good to be fucking your patient. I
Yeah.
also want to put this out there for discussion, for the group, for the table. Should Chaol have waited to have a conversation with Nezrin before anything physical happened with Irene? And I know that there was the letter that was like, I hold you to nothing, I'm holding myself to nothing. Did he owe it to her before starting anything new to
I
wrap that
mean,
up?
he made promises to Nezrin. So, yeah, like, even though Nezrin can read the writing on the wall, like, you never actually discussing this with her. It's
I'm a little mad.
unfair. But
Like, I
also,
want them to fuck because I think it's like part of my rotation. I think about them fucking, but I think that they could have waited.
I don't think he even properly discusses Nesrin with Irene. I think my
No.
problem is I'm big on communication in relationships, and
Mhm.
I just am very chatty. I talk out.
What?
I know it's weird, but, like, I think out loud. So half the time I think through things out loud, so you hear my whole thought process
Well,
whether
see,
you want
if
to or
I were
not.
Irene, I would have asked about Nezrin a million times by now.
Well, just because that one time I walked in and nothing had happened, had something been happening, like, the day before? The
She
week
came
before?
here with you, you promised her an adventure, like yeah, and I do think that he owes her a little more communication before something because
Yeah.
things with Irene happen very quickly.
Yeah, well, like, even just I forgot, like, when Irene first meets Kale, she's asking if he's had any, like, full like, to completion,
Mhm.
like, orgasms, and it looks all awkward and like, "No, but that doesn't explain emotionally what's happening
Right.
between Kale and Nezrin." I don't want a rebound anybody. I wanna know that your feelings are not still mixed up in Nezrin
Mhm.
somewhere. Like, I just feel like we should have chatted a little more.
I agree.
As they walk to dinner one night, Kale wants to tell Irene, he debates telling her that it's already enough, that he would gladly live with the cane for the rest of his
He
life.
is so hard to, like, keep up with,
I mean,
where
like,
he is mentally,
I
like, his
understand
moods.
he doesn't want Irene to be, like, tearing herself down, like, repeatedly trying to help him, but at the same time, weren't you just losing your mind that you couldn't fight on your own feet?
That was literally 2 pages ago.
Oh, but, like, okay. Even if he didn't bring an army back, he'd find a way to be with his men on the battlefield fighting for
Now
her.
you're fighting for okay, whatever.
Like,
It's
this
just
girl you've barely known and everybody else that needs your help, like,
well,
okay.
it's so hard to keep up with what Kale is feeling, which I think makes him very relatable and realistic. It's infuriating, but healing isn't linear. Like, you don't have an epiphany that you don't need to walk to make a difference and then never get frustrated about not being able to walk again. Like, it's
Right.
annoying, but it does make him real.
Well, and
Kale is the most human of the characters we have in this series.
you're right, though, because he's going back and forth on his feelings for the whole thing, like,
But
obviously,
I
he
do
wants to
that
be healed,
too, like, I'm like, "Oh, this is fine," and then I, like, freak out later.
but he's also able to see because he's with Irene for the healing, he can see the physical cost and how draining it
Yeah.
is for so, like, at least he's not selfish enough to be like, "I don't care, do whatever it takes to get me
Mhm.
better," like, he's like, "That's I could be okay," like, I
Well,
can
later
respect
on, what
that.
he expects a level of sacrifice from someone else is very different.
Yeah, but, like you just said, we're growing. Irene has found a way for them to visit the desert
I would
oasis.
love to go to a desert
I mean,
oasis.
that sounds really exciting. Kale's like, "What about the heat?" I'm like, "Isn't it always hot? Like, does it
It
matter?"
does sound miserable
And
when
you're
they
in the
talk
desert,
about
so it's like, unless it's
traveling.
cold at night, it's gonna be hot. But Irene mentioned that in all of her years here, she's never been, and with her birthday coming up, Hisar has suggested a little overnight trip to Oxara.
Hassar also shared the legend that the oasis grew atop a city of the dead. The ruins are a gateway. That's why they don't venture into the jungle surrounding it. There's actually a book called Haunted Vagina. And, and it's
Stop.
this guy's he's dating this girl and he hears noises coming from her vagina and it turns out it's a gateway to the underworld.
I don't even know what to do with that. That's so
No, we just I've like have been looking into books for We Listen and We Don't Judge, this little video we do. And I found one where like it's called Corn Daddy and his dick, like he's looking for a corn queen, obviously, but his dick is a corn cob and he comes hot butter.
ew. But it's that's funny because that makes me think of like Dane Cook. Like I'm gonna date myself as a
Yes.
very specific millennial, but he has one of his like jokes with the stand-up is something about I guess he's like fucking a girl and he's like, "Man, my dick feels like corn." And she's like, "Give me the butter, baby. Give me the butter."
No, Dane Cook was such a large part of our growing up.
There were so many back-to-back jokes that, like,
Yes.
maybe it's the way he delivered it because it was so excessive, but we were young and silly and it worked.
Oh, there was also another one. God, I can't remember the name. It's maybe fucked by a pommel horse. Anyway, so there's this gymnast and she's kind of like grinding on a pommel horse. You know, like the guy who went famous on the Olympics? Because I was
Yeah.
like, what's a pommel horse? I looked up and I was like, oh, Steven, that guy. So then he comes to life, but then he like hates male gymnast. I don't, it's very stupid,
How is
but
a pommel horse gonna do anything back? Like, I don't never
but
mind. You
then
know
there's
what?
also a balloon animal shifter and it's called Squeak.
What like, how does that not
He
pop?
comes frosting, cake frosting.
I don't even I have logistical questions for that one.
Oh man, I will read anything.
You know what? You should get more details and report back. I'm very interested. Kale is invited to this desert party, as are Rinya, Argon, Caution, and a few viziers, but Duva shouldn't be in that heat pregnant, and her husband never leaves her side.
Even though she's the one who orchestrated it, Irene wishes she had a similar excuse to Duva, and Kale's like, we've got a few days. Like, let's slow the fuck down before we start making let me get you pregnant
I mean,
jokes. We haven't even fucked yet.
I know we're joking, but I'm like, wow, that feels like a big step.
Well, also, Hassar, thanks for throwing me a party and inviting none of my friends. Like, she doesn't invite anyone from the Torre.
It just like shows you a few things about Hussar. You're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
When Kale jokes that he'll try to find a present that can compete with a desert getaway, Irene tells him that she has everything that she needs.
You have 4 dresses. Like, let's start there.
Didn't you spill some chicken something on one of
You
them?
have
So are
3
you down to
dresses.
3?
These chapters are almost like I love these chapters, but they're kind of a bridge to the rest of the story because we're moving from what's mostly been character based, especially in Tower of Dawn, because we were meeting all these new people and like setting up an entire new world. In Empire Storms too, like we were getting to know some of these characters on a deeper level. But now we're moving into the plot. Like we're moving the overall story forward. So you're starting to feel the urgency and the danger, and we're getting into like the plot of the entire series.
Gosh, it's so much fun though, because you're like, oh man, shit's about to pop off. And that's where we'll pick up next week with Empire of Storms chapters 53 through 57 and Tower of Dawn chapters 41 through 43.
If y'all don't hate us, prove it with ratings and reviews and comments on Spotify.
But no pressure. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.